You are listening to The Alex Way.
Hola a todos y todas. This is your host, Alex Moraes, and welcome to The Alex Way Show. This is a show about passion, dedication, and leadership in the soccer world. Today, I have a special guest, but before I introduce you to our guest for today, I would like to mention that we are across the board in the most popular podcast platforms, such as iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify, as well as Anchor.fm. You can find us and look me up in social media at Moraes Melara or Alex Moraes, or the hashtag the Alex Way via YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, etc., etc. And obviously, if you would like to contribute to help us continue to run this show and bring quality guests, then obviously check the description. You'll see the PayPal link so you can support us. But anyways, guys, I'm very excited. I have this is a combination, a former professional player who is now a quality coach. And who I'm talking about today is the Guatemalan international. He is Luis Swisher. Now, before I go into him, I would like to mention a few things that I think are worth knowing about Luis, so that you can get an idea, and hopefully some of you already know who he is. But as a professional football or soccer player, he played professional soccer for 7 teams in the Guatemala National First Division League. He was voted Rookie of the Year during first professional season, first Guatemalan defender to ever play in Europe, and first Central American to play in the Polish League. And he will have to help me with the pronunciation of that Polish League. Now, he has 40 caps with the Guatemalan national team, all the way from the under-19 youth national to the under-21, under-23 youth national teams. 23 caps with the men's national team. And also, he was the Central American Championship with the Guatemalan national team as well, UNCAF and CONCACAF back in 21. He even played a World Cup qualifier with his national team. And let's not even forget to mention that he has also been a part as a player of the Olympic Games qualifiers with the under-23 Guatemalan national team, Pan American Games, and Central American and Caribbean Games as well. As a coach, very interesting, and we'll talk about this, but he transitioned from being a player to a coach, and he started out here in the U.S. as coaching youth development in DC United, in a splendid club. And then he went on to, I think, co-founding his own soccer academy as well in Guatemala. And ever since, he's coached ODP, Region 1, this is New Jersey, as well as coaching youth development with New York Red Bulls, and then Cedar Stars Rush. He also has experience as a director of coaching for FC Boulder. He's an CONCACAF and a U.S. soccer instructor, and now he's an MLS Next head coach as well as academy director of coaching. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my guest, Coach Luis Swisher. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, Alex. You gave all my life over there, but thanks. I appreciate for the opportunity to be with your podcast, and and happy to talk about my life experience as a soccer player, and also as a head coach. So happy to be here and have a chat about soccer, what we like to do a lot, right? So
absolutely. Well, and again, thankful for your family to allow me this time. I know that again, you could spend time with your family, and that's always very, very important. So appreciate a little bit of your time. So let's just get started here. Um, so did you ever imagine you would have so many caps with Guatemala?
Well, I think you imagine it when you're a kid. I mean, if you really like soccer or football, how we call it back home, but I mean, that's a dream of, especially in our countries in Central America. There's more passion about the sport, so we all do it as a, because we do have other sports, but not as a big as it is the soccer side. So when I grew up, I was lucky to be in environments with my uncle and a couple of family members that they do play professionally soccer in Guatemala. So I think it was, I had that environment and it was easier. My mom's brother, my uncle played a national team as well. So when I started, and as I remember, when I started, and I didn't start like pretty young. I just remember being in the environment and being around stadiums and stuff where we went through those things. But I think started like when I was probably 9 years old, playing more, let's say, more involved and wanted to do more. So since that moment, I think I started to, I wanted to be like my uncle. I wanted to play in a professional level. I wanted to be in a national team. So I did start imagining at that moment that was like my dream, right? And saying, I want to be like him. I want to do, because he used to hang out a lot with my family. So it was like, it was fun. I thought it was fun what he did, play professionally, getting paid. And I thought that was like something. Before that, I wanted to be probably a fireman or a soldier or something like that. But after that, it was all I remember. Like I said, 8, 9 years old, I started like, I want to be a footballer. I want to be a soccer player. And since then, I mean, I think life and opportunities and challenges and everything in my way starting shaping what I wanted. I think I knew what the clear objective was, but I never imagined going that far. But I did had it as a dream, and luckily that happened.
Wow. Now, obviously, this will be in YouTube and video, so whoever's going to be watching this will see the Guatemalan poster behind you. If you're listening in the podcast, you won, but it's good to point that out. Do you miss your country? Do you miss Guatemala? What do you miss the most?
Well, yes, definitely. I mean, I moved here to the States almost going my ninth year in June. Um, and I love it. I enjoy it here, but obviously, you can do the math. Then being 35 years in my country, I mean, it's a life, right? And definitely, I was born and raised there. I only see the U.S. as a touristic and go visit with my family, because I do have some family. My parents lived here 20 years ago. They moved here to the States, so I always wanted to be in the States as well. But I also miss, obviously, my life, my buddies, and everything that I grew up with that, and even my wife and my kid are from there. So yeah, you kind of missed it, especially the culture. I would say that's why you miss the most, which is different. You need to adapt. Here is fantastic, but there's different ways of doing things. So that's what you miss, only like the little details that they're different, like that, like the food, like the way it's just a simple thing, but the way that here in the US you get your meals, like comparing with how you at the times that you get your meals in Guatemala. And you say, well, what do you mean? But it's just a simple detail, right? We're like more structure. Here is like work, 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 work. And then if you have time, then you get no. Over there's a culture. You get to do your breakfast. You get to do your lunch. People even go out of work to get to go home, get a lunch, and then go back to work. So things, and like I said, details like that, family reunions and buddies reunions and all that type of different activities that obviously you miss because like I said, I was there 35 years and but yeah, I'm also someone that adapts pretty well because of the national team and because of soccer. I get to travel a lot, get to travel different places, and I think it was easier. The adaptation in the US is pretty simple, but it's different though in many ways. So I don't think it was hard, but still you miss some of the stuff that you do back home.
Absolutely. Has there been any sort of culture shock for you here in Missouri?
I would say yes, because I've been already in the US in my 8 years. I've been in three, I would say four, but three different states. Besides, I know a little bit about Florida because that's where my parents live. So I used to travel a lot to Florida when I was in Guatemala. So basically, knowing Florida, New Jersey, Washington D.C., Colorado, and now St. Louis, I'm telling you, there's a different. Which, don't get me wrong, I see a lot of positive things and good things, and also I see things that I go like, wow, it's different, and not in a bad way, but I think it's different. It's you need to get in. One of the things it's because in Guatemala I had an experience similar to that. I went to a place and I always compare it to that place where I used to play soccer, similar to San Luis, right? It's all about passion about the place. It's about I'm their pride of being or were born here and they don't think anything about US, the rest of US. They just care about them, right? So like I said, it's you can take it in many ways, but for people as an outsider, it's always a challenge because you're not from here and you were drop here in the map and hey, go to work. So I think that's the most let's say not shocking, but the most I was, like I said, in a different experience in the past, so for me it was easier to understand it. But I know, like I said, they feel and back home in that place, we used to say if they want to be independent and get separate and build another country for Central America, they will do it for sure. So I feel the same as St. Louis. If they make the choice of saying, hey, you want to be at choose another state and choose, they will say, yeah, we'll separate from everything else. So that's the part, like I said, in terms of being an outsider and coming to a place where, and you can see it because of the questions, right? Where do you go to high school? What's your roots? Where do you live? So people is more about, and when you come here as I'm in Baldwin and I don't know much than that. So you're from St. Charles, or you from the city, or you're from South or West County. So it's all about that. And like I said, I've been 3 years here trying to learn more and more, and I don't feel an outsider anymore. But
Nice.
but I guess for people, I'm still an outsider. So
Sure.
that's the challenge.
Okay, no, that makes perfect sense. Let me ask you this, Luis. How does, I mean, obviously you have your family, and I'm positive, sure, your spouse is very supportive. I'm wondering, I'm a new dad, so I have a 1 year and 8 months son, and I wonder, how is your son uh, living, knowing that his father was, I mean, still is considered a Guatemalan, not only former player, but Guatemalan football star, soccer star, and now you're a coach. How is he taking that?
Well, I think I got a funny story for that, and it was recently, like a couple of years. He went like because knowing, oh, my dad plays soccer, was a former player, so he's into the sport. He likes soccer, and he did a question pop up. The question one, like he goes like that. Where are all your millions? And I go like, what are you talking about? And he goes like, well, you were a former player, and he's a fan of Cristiano Ronaldo, and he goes like, well, Cristiano Ronaldo is millionaire, and like I said, we're living here, and we, you know, where's your Ferrari, where's your Lamborghini, right? And I go like, no, 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 no. I was a football player, but I didn't make that much amount of money. So just to get you, he's super passionate about it, but has lived in terms of when I was young as well. I had another story. So when I moved from, still he was in Guatemala when in my last year. He probably has um, some glimpses of where I brought him into the stadium in my last year of my career, and he was probably a year and a half. And you can argue and say, well, does he remembers about that? But he did. Because when I used to bring it to the stadium, and because of that, I used to bring it to the locker room, bring it to the in my last year of my career. When I moved to the States and he started getting more, I mean, older, and he was like 4 or 5 when we were in Red Bull. I was working in Red Bulls, so we used to go to the stadium, and he used to tell me, Dad, why we don't go to the locker room and why don't we go to the field? And I was like, because I can bring you there. At least I get some tickets, right, to get into the stadium, but not access to, more than that. It was like, because I can go, well, aren't you, or you weren't a soccer player? So he thinks that I had access to everything just because I was a soccer player. So it was like I said, that's the way that he lives it. And he's now obviously older. He's 10 years old. He's understanding now. And still, I think, I don't know if, to be honest, if his dream it is more playing soccer or seeing me becoming a head coach in the future of a top club. I mean, I think he's super supportive in that area. Like he lives it every time that I'm with my guys and we have a game. It's always like, how do you do? He's always trying to be alert of what is going on. Like I said, he will, and maybe it's because of that. Maybe because he will enjoy if I become a head coach to go to the locker room and be around. And he loves that. And when I was a kid, to be fair, that was one of the most experience that I enjoyed when I was around my uncle, and he used to bring me to, being around the locker room, the players doing, getting ready for their games, doing their massage and doing, all those little things that before that not people get to use, see, right, unless it's on All or Nothing or something like that. So it is, that's like I said. And when people ask me as well, what is the thing that you miss the most of being a former player, it is the locker room. So when I make the choice of becoming a head coach, it is because of that. I want to be still around in a different perspective, in a different way, because it's a different profession. But I'm still around watching the guys, fooling around, doing the locker room, and that for me, it is great. So
That's amazing. And he's 10 years old. What's his name?
Daniel,
Daniel.
we call him Danny. Yeah.
Danny. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Danny, for allowing us to talk to your dad. And
Yeah.
sounds like a very supportive child. And that to me um, struck a nerve because I don't think it's very typical, Luis. I don't know if you would agree with this, to have your son say, I would prefer my dad to be a head coach, or maybe the average is I want to be I want to be a soccer star. So to me that's very unique. It shows a little bit of what you've done as a father as well, and how important has it been for you to become a dad?
Well, it's like I said, always is the best experience that you can have, and I get, as he gets older, obviously his passion is developing, and maybe in the future he would say, "No, I want to be the soccer player," and then I don't care what you do. But I think it is because he sees, and in fact, sometimes he asks me, "Why do I don't coach him?" And to be fair, because I don't coach younger guys anymore. I used to, and I think, but this is like, I always tell him, look, this is like the doctor. You can fix your own family. I mean, it's like if I'm a doctor, you bring someone to another doctor, right? If you're sick, so trying to explain in the same analogy, because you're my kid, so I probably do mistakes that I don't want to do. And one of the things that I promised myself was with him, because people says like, you probably do this and force him to do this because you're in the environment. No, no, he's in the environment of soccer, but I'll never push him to become a soccer player, because I want him to figure out and have that experience like I did. I mean, with me, no one told me, hey, you need to be, because this is the environment, your uncle play, you have to do it. No, I mean, it was naturally, and I want him to discover it in a natural way. And because the other thing that I've seen a lot with other former players and with their kids, they become so, obsessed to become, or even parents as well, that they become obsessed to let their kids, I want you to play, or because they didn't reach what they want, so they see on their kids doing that. And I think that's the biggest mistake that you could do, because more than you're forcing something that is not becoming naturally, and then it tends to go away and fade. I used to have a coach, one of my former coaches, when I was in the youth level, and I was in academy. It was funny because his kid was in the same high school as me, and we went to school, middle school and high school, and he hated soccer. He hated soccer, and his dad was a great coach. Play professionally a little bit, but there was as well a huge coach in Mexico. He was from Argentina. Big teams, coach big teams in Mexico and Guatemala. And I said, why you don't play? So he played basketball. He was like super tall, and he told me once. He told me my dad forced me, and I think that kind of you know strike me a little bit, and so I didn't want to make. That's what I'm saying. I promised myself not to force my kid, and now I do put him in the environments. He's in the environment, and he naturally loves it. So he, when he goes to play in his team, we talk about what things you can improve, what you did well. It's just a process of not, did you win? Did you, force him
Yeah,
in
of course.
loving the game? I think that's where it starts. Everything starts with loving the game, and I think he loves the game. I mean, and that's what the most important for me.
Absolutely. No, that's great. This is great wisdom for me as a father. So I truly appreciate it, and yeah, I can tell from just getting connected with you just recently, a few months ago, and you being so kind to take me in your social media circle as well, and I can see you're a passionate father, you're passionate husband, your family matters, and that's so important. Um, no, I would like to start to talk about soccer a little bit, if we may. But when it comes to Guatemalan and then American soccer, what do you think are the key differences between both nations' sport?
There's a lot. I mean, the first one and the biggest one, obviously here in the U.S., the infrastructure and the resources that we have, and it's funny because when we talk with coaches and around, you could hear more of them complaining about resources, and I go like, oh, I can't imagine if these guys will be in Guatemala. There's not even, here you go to a training session and you have these beautiful turf fields, these beautiful grass fields,
Yeah,
and and coaches complain about, oh, we don't have, you know uh, cones or too many soccer balls, or not too many because they do have, or I don't have this software, I don't have this this performance department, or we don't have. So there's a lot of those details. Well, it now, if we look from here from the perspective of the US, yes, we need to be bigger, and we need to be have more, obviously, if we want to develop players. But then when I go back and I see, okay, our guys over there, our coaches, they don't have the fields, they don't have the even the soccer balls, they don't have, it's a different model. Here it's a mostly is a play to pay model, and back home there's a few that it's getting there, a few academies, or not academies, but soccer clubs that are starting to have that model, but it's not everyone can afford it. So soccer keeps continuing, and to people that get a soccer ball, play in the streets, and that's about it. So there's a lot of big differences for sure, but and I think we're back there. We're slowing down because everyone is getting better. Because I would say the board members, the people that runs the country in terms of the sports, there's a lot of, I would say, corruption, and so it's and that's why there's no resources, because for me, they are, but they're not invested in the best way, especially with not having the model as here. Because if for example, when I was there, I co-founded a small soccer club. We call it academy, but it was a small soccer club where I started with another former player as well, and it was a pay-to-play model, but you can't live from that. That's one of the reasons that I decided to move here as well, and saying, well, there's more opportunities there. But over there's a roof, and it's with that system and that model. So, but we tried from our side to build something and give opportunities to the players. But then it comes to the coaching. I mean, for me, this country is growing so fast because they do have the resources, but they were missing the part where the coaching still is not great. And because people in different ways, people because they get a license, or I know everything, or because you get started as a volunteer, or I know everything. And it's not the way. I've been coaching 8 years. I got a professional career 20 years. So that's 20 years of being involved in the sport. And I still think I don't know everything. I still am on the learning process of improving and improving every day, because the profession and also the coaching evolves so much, because it is like that. There's always we're like teachers, and it's like, if you don't become competent in what you do, there's no way that you can survive. But the difference is because, oh, I've been coaching for 10 years, so that makes me the fact of I'm the best coach. No, I mean, I think this is a continuous thing that coaches need to understand, that is a different thing from, even though I played 20 years, it's a different role. It starts from zero, and because it's a different now. You do have some, let's say, some steps ahead in terms of locker room, in terms of, depending on the age as well, depending on the characteristics of the players, that you might have some experiences that you live, that you have some advantage to people that didn't play the sport, but they do coach well. So I think it doesn't give you the ground because you play or you were a former professional player that you're going to be a great coach. And you have many different stories that you will see that it doesn't work that way. Now, it is what it is. I would say former players, immediately you see them because they play. That's why it sells. And then you see a former player national team, and then eventually, boom, he's the new head coach. And then you see the experience is a little, and then the background is little. I did both things, and in terms of coming to a different country, I literally no one knows me here. When I go back home, I at least I know there's some people that remember me and know because my name is because of what I did there. So is interesting because I would say if I would be probably playing in an MLS in the past, or having a bigger, huge name, because my career, I think, I mean, I accomplished my goals, and I did things that is not easy, even though it's in another country. But here, because it's another country, maybe they don't see it that way. But it is fine for me because it was a learning process as well. Okay, I start from scratch. And it was funny, my first job in Red Bulls, people, I didn't say anything that I was a former player. So I was hanging out with coaches, and until, it was like a year, and they kind of pop out, did you play? And I was like, yeah, I play. How many years? Like, I played 16 years. I played in the national team. And they go like, why didn't you say anything? Like you could get another opportunity just by being a former player. And I said, no, why? Because I'm a coach now. I'm not a soccer player anymore. Now I do understand that you need that because it's like everything. If you want to have better opportunities in life, then you need to sell yourself a little bit more, which for me shouldn't be that way, but unfortunately it is that way. So now I do say that I do sell myself
Yeah.
because when you see that other guys get more opportunities and fair enough, but I would say I'm a little bit different. I think it is more rewarding when you earn things because you really work hard for them than when they're just given. And the reward is the same, right? If you're a coach, if you're a player, when it was hard and you accomplish something, trust me, it's like wow. Why? Because maybe I did play in top teams in Guatemala, and I also play in the underdogs, right?
Sure.
And when I play on those, I try to always be on the top
Wow.
because in those teams it is hard, and then I think you can challenge yourself more. So for example, I play in three different teams that they're now a little bit better. They're top team. They're not considered at the time that I played, they were not considered the top teams.
They're
And
mid-table.
yeah, mid-table and down, or they, I mean, if we consider the criteria, they're not having a lot of championships basically, right?
Okay.
And then going through three finals, I lost two of them, but with smaller teams, getting to the final two out of three times,
Big accomplishment.
it is more rewarding than if you are I always have this argument with another, and he's a buddy, but he used to brag about, oh, I've been in Municipal, which is one of the top
Nice.
teams. Oh, I
Top
have
club.
20 championships. And he goes like, I have 20 champions. How many do you have? I only have two. But I told him, how many of those 20 did you play? Well, he was there. He just hanging out there. It doesn't matter if he didn't play. And it's like, no, I'd rather play all of them and be important in all of them and only win in two than being in 20 and
And for the
consider
best.
myself
Yeah.
successful. But who is fooling myself is me. It's not, I mean, so it's that's my perspective in terms of it's more rewarding. So it's the same as a coach. I mean, it's like that, right? I'm trying to, earn my craft and build it. And I think I'm getting there. I'm in 8 years. I think I have grown a lot. Still not where I want to go, but
Wow.
because I see myself going further. I know it's gonna be a challenge, and yeah, if people ask me sometimes about, so why you chose to be a coach and why, I mean, what do you want to accomplish? There's a couple of things. I did have a couple good mentors, coaches, and that just struck me in terms of, this is what I want to do. Like I said, that you see things and you want to be like those guys, right? So that's what made me my decision to become a head coach. The second thing is I don't want to be stuck in the office unless it was talking about soccer, and I don't see myself in four walls talking about the sport, right? And then the third thing, this is just a thing for me. It's I want to accomplish why I didn't as a soccer player, which is two things. It is going to a World Cup and being and playing in let's say I did play in a top league in Europe.
Yes.
But always had on the top of my head, on the top of my mind, was to play in MLS. Don't ask me why. I never could play in the MLS. So
Wow.
now it's like I want to become a head coach in the MLS. And in some, I don't know when it's gonna happen. It could
Yes.
take 10 years. But yeah, I want to accomplish the little details that I didn't do as a former soccer player. I want to do it as a head coach, and we'll see what life is for me.
This is so rewarding for me personally, because I I identified myself with you as you are sharing more about your story. I mean, first of all, it seems like we have so many things in common. I didn't play that top level. I just arrived to First Division in Club Deportivo Vida over 70 years of existence. But then I was the one who decided, you know what, Dad, I want to go and study abroad in the U.S. Because at the time also Honduras is really, I think Guatemalan is a little bit safer than Honduras, and so I had to leave here. But I have to flee and just be here, and I had the opportunity. So there's a difference, a distinction of you playing top level for so much an extra window, right? But I can see we have some points in common. Come from countries in which, unfortunately, and you talk about corruption, we have been completely internationally embarrassed in Honduras because the former presidents of our federations are now in jail. you know, and there's so much more that that they could do for our players, for our infrastructure fields, et cetera, and just the money gets there. FIFA funds, for instance, the Honduran League because the economy is a disaster. That they survive on fundraisers, something that I just discovered a couple of years ago. But one thing that is significant here is, see, looking from outside, Luis, I would have thought, wow, Luis, this is what you see, okay? Luis is a top player, is a former top player from Guatemala, sure, who went to Europe, maybe not in the MLS, but wow, for you to say that you didn't play in MLS, maybe that is not what gives you that opportunity here to be there already. That strikes a nerve. That strikes a nerve. You wouldn't expect that seeing it from the outside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you were there already in Guatemala and in Europe. So it's interesting to see. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think, yeah, it's. I think I like challenges, and I think even in my work, in my environment, in every club that I've been, I'm dedicated, I'm passionate, hardworking. But there's a moment where you accomplish what you want and you succeed, and there's a roof, and then I become anxious. I want to give me another challenge. I need to be challenged, and it's like, in a positive way. Is not on I'm ambitious about the profession, but not ambitious for, I mean, in terms of money. I was always said, it's like my kid, right, asking where are your millions at, right? So I always think that money will come. It's just a matter of patience. If you do and I think I got that from my dad. It was like, he's a hardworking guy, and then eventually it's like, you're gonna get your reward. Rewards are gonna come. People is gonna, sometimes it doesn't. And I think this is because someone asked me a question recently. It was like 2 days. When you're let's say, not in the things are not working your way, how do you do? He kind of told me, I kind of admire what you do, because even though things are, hard, you keep just focusing in the things that you want to accomplish, and how do you make that? And I think it is that I don't lose focus on my general objective and my bigger goals.
Yes.
And I focus on the little details, and the rest, I told him, it is noise. It is just noise. So the more you put emphasis to that noise, it takes you apart to go into your goals. So that's for me, that's what I do. So when there's a circumstance or a challenge in work, or something that is not working my way, even things that sometimes you think that you deserve, that you don't get it, and then you might say, why you didn't get them? And you're not like, you can become like, you know what, you didn't give me this, I'm gonna leave, or I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that. And I said, no, you need to be patient, because the opportunities will arise. Will arise. You just have to have faith to yourself, in terms of, this is, in, like I said, in focusing on your goals. And one of the things that people, and I got a good mentor, but I also try to mentor people. And then those mentees, sometimes I tell them, look, because they get desperate, and it's hard. And I understand, because I do it as well. I'm human, and we have emotions. But I think I learned this also from, I have to give her credit for my wife, getting into areas that, when things are not going your way, It is focused on the things that your weaknesses and the things that you can improve, and you get them and focus on those areas, because you think that you're good in other areas, you think you're good in everything, and it's not like that. In order to be the best of the best, you have to have all the different tasks or areas on your work environment.
Yeah.
There's going to be things that you're not good at, and so why not, instead of focus on that noise, that I call that noise, focus the energy into those in those things that you need to improve. For example, just to give something that I give to what are you like? Oh, I'm not good in, and let's say if it is a coach, I'm not good in video analysis, video editing, and anything like that. Well, focus your energy. But you think you're good on the field, well, focus your energy in terms of improving those type of areas where you're gonna be. Or if you're not good at leading people, I can't manage parents, I cannot manage this. Well, focusing in yourself, how do you improve in your leadership skills, and how do you're gonna deal in, because you're emotional, because you can handle that, instead of saying, I'm done with this, I don't want to do this, I want to find something that is just easier. And trust me, the bigger you go, because now that I go back, I started with guys like my kid, right? I started coaching with 5, 6, 7 years old, and I thought that was hard at the moment that I started, because you jump from a professional level, and now you're stuck to jump with. You think that you are babysitting, and that, now that I reflect and going back, it is like, no, that's super easy. That's the easy thing that you can do, because the challenges become different
Yeah.
in many ways. Now you want to get away because maybe you miss, if you were a pro, you want to go into that environment. That's my motivation. It is, I want to get into the pro level. Why? Because I missed it. I missed the pro environment. Now that doesn't mean, but in order to get to the pro level, I need to learn about everything. And it doesn't matter if it is about coaching and babysitting 5, 6 year olds. I think if you ask me, what does that mean? And that relates to becoming a top head coach. Trust me, I get something from that experience, and I know, maybe never, but I know I put it on my back of experiences, and I don't know if I will ever, or somewhere in the future, I will use one of those experiences that I live with that. So I do learn in terms of what I do, and now, as a, let's say, as a director of coaching, and also working with different levels, I do coach the highest, let's say, academy level, and but working in a past with 12, 13s, 14s, and I got so much to give, because you have those experiences that you live, you reflect, and then you can say, well, that's what it is at this level. This is the patterns that occur, and this is what and it's easier to manage. And then when you grow up, um, in terms of your career, when you become in a pro level, you know all the little details. You know why a 19 or a 18-year-old is different than a 19, is different than a 17, and you know all those little details. And maybe when you get into the pro level, you're gonna know. You will say, well, you will not deal with that anymore, but you will need to deal with youngsters that they're going into your first team. Now it will change, because now you need to deal with grown-ups, you need to deal with families, you need to deal with, with a player like Ibrahimovic, like a player with with a lot of background that comes from a country that doesn't have, and coming to a different culture. So all those are just a bunch of experiences that are preparing me for the next level. I don't see it as when I'm doing this, when I'm gonna get my opportunity. I see it as, I'm learning, I'm getting as much as I can. So when I get into that level, because if you ask the Mourinhos, the Guardiolas, the Bielsas, they'll go through that. They'll go through that. And I think it's just about patience. It's about opportunities. The only thing that I ask is, hopefully someone can see my work, see the way that I work, and gives me a shot. I mean, I can fail, and I know I will fail, but I mean, this is like we do with our players. It's like you see a lot of, I enjoy giving to younger players opportunities, because you can say, when you're gonna give them, when they're 25, they're old already. So they're asking it now. If you give them the opportunity, if they're not ready, it's
Yeah.
a different story. But before you can say, nah, he's not ready. Well, how do you know if you haven't given them the opportunity? So I'm pretty loyal. Why? And if you ask me why, because I'm I appreciate and thankful and grateful of the guy that gave me the opportunity to be in a pro level. The two guys that, the guys that gave me opportunities, my first call up to the national team, my first call up to the first team, my first call up to youth national team. I'm super grateful. They cannot be the best coaches in the world, but I'm super grateful, and I still remember those three coaches because they believe in me. And that's why I was asking, hey, give me a shot.
Give me a
Give me
shot.
a shot, right? And then it's up to me. Okay, I gave you the shot,
Yeah.
and now it's okay. He did his part. Now I'm doing my part. So the same as a coach, you're waiting for that, and you can fail. And if you see, there's a lot of coaches that get opportunities and they fail, and then you don't see them anymore. You know why it is? Because they were not prepared for that opportunity. The opportunity just arise. They were not ready, and that's what my motivation it is. Every time I do things is because I'm thinking of my goals and my objectives. I'm thinking I need to be ready because I can't complain. Because when I got here in the States and working as a coach, I didn't want to go to the pro level right away. I would be scared. I would be like, no way. Why? Because I was loyal to myself, saying I'm not ready to do that. I'm not gonna take something that I'm not ready for that. Now, if you ask me now, I do it. I'm ready. I feel ready and comfortable. Why? Because I've been set into a lot of experiences. Not only experiences, those experiences become knowledge, and then knowledge becomes me competent in what I do. So it's not just a matter of a lucky shot. It is, I do know why I do things. In the past, probably I didn't know. This is a process of 8, 7, 6 years of me understanding the profession and coaching. It's magnificent. I love it, and I will do it again. And obviously, I will do it more soccer player for sure. But I do enjoy is the closest. Yeah.
What do you? So it seems like education is very important because looking back into your bio, Luis, you have a master's of coaching of the University of Delaware, which I know one of the criteria is having an A license, having your premier diploma, which you already have. You have your A license from the Guatemalan Federation and now from the U.S. Soccer Federation. And I know that at least in the state of Missouri, you're one of the very few coaches who have the blessing of being an A licensed coach. And I know that's important to you, the education now. But as an educator, I I'm going through my C license with the Federation now. And I've seen favoritism to some folks who are playing professionally. I don't say I never said anything about my background, I don't say that I play in a youth national team, fourth, third, second, first, nothing. I just want to, just like you, like I want to earn it. I want to go for it, stay true to myself and humble in the process. And then what I found out is towards the end of that licensing education portion, the instructor was like, yeah, hey, let's talk about this session, an example, and let's start with the keeper. Didn't you say you're a keeper? Where did you play? And I thought, okay, well, I'll share with him. Well, I played this level. Oh, did you really? And he's like, his eyes changed, towards me. And I thought to myself, well, you were just treating me for months very normally, and now out of a sudden I'm some sort of special person. But how do you determine what to pass or not to pass a coach as an instructor?
I think, I mean, in terms of it, I am a fan of education. I think, I mean, like I said, doesn't give you the grant because you were a former player that you know everything. You need to go. Why? Because there is a teaching and coaching element through what the head coach means in terms of you're not playing anymore. So now, because your perspective of seeing things is now you need to translate it to give that information to someone else. So it is important to educate ourselves, and especially to know that, because at the end it is, before you did it yourself, you recognize the situations, you play the sport, you recognize, okay, in this scenario I need to do this. Now when you go as a coach, you can recognize some of those. Like I said, that's a part of a little bit of the advantage that you have, because you played at the highest level. It gives you some perspective to understand some of the situations and the things that you need to do. But now you need to translate it to give it to someone else. And that's that process,
Yeah.
right? It's a different thing. It's a different thing. Why? Because now you're talking about teaching, you're talking about, coaching and mentoring someone. And if I do send the wrong information, you're not going to get it. I get it, you can't get it. So there's that loss, can get lost in translation. And that doesn't make you a good coach, because yeah, I did play, yeah, you're the good, but he's not the good, the player is not good enough. So how you make it good? So that's where we get lost. Now I get it. There's a stigma in terms of, well, he played the sport. He might know a little bit more, definitely, than someone didn't play. If you never ever play and you never kick a soccer ball, you were not in a situation that soccer player could it be. But maybe that guy could be a teacher, right? And could be a teacher. It could be a great teacher. So I think now he doesn't have the information about soccer, but if he gets to understand the situations about soccer and the game elements, then it's gonna be easier, because now he will translate. He will translate that information. So that's where I think just, and it could happen. I think US soccer is working a lot in terms of changing the way than the things that were done in the past. I agree with you. There's a lot of there out were there. If you were a soccer player, you pass. If you were not a soccer player, you could fail. I think it's not that anymore. It's changed because it's getting so big and education is so important for US soccer, that I think there's still a few guys like that they have the stigma like that I think that it's easier because you play the game. And don't get me wrong, I think both of them are important. Like I just put the two examples, right? You have someone but might not, but you have this. The other guys that didn't play don't have this, but they do have probably the connection. So, and then you have someone that doesn't have anything, right? So I think it is a process. It is a process in terms of trying to educate, but it is a good process. I think everyone should put themselves into that process to educate themselves. Like you said, I love education about, because I knew that I knew I was a smart player. I wasn't wow. I think I accomplished my goals in the way that I play, because I was a smart guy in terms of when I was in the field. I wasn't the biggest player. I wasn't the strongest player. I was in fact, I got shut down many opportunities because I wasn't big and I wasn't strong. But I was smart. So I had to find people that like smart players in order to get an opportunity. So like I said, I was thankful those guys that saw some qualities of myself and gave me the shot, because other ones they could say, and this is what the beauty about the sport, right? It's about opinions. And oh, I like that one. You might say, no, I like that one. I don't like that one. But for me, in everything that we do, I'm a process orientated guy. So for me is we should have a process within everything that we do. So what are you picking that? Okay, give me a why. Uh, and that's my process. Why are you successful? Why are you a good coach? Give me your why. So if you ask me, hey Luis, if you accomplish, let's say, and I always put this example, in the first year that I came here, we went to the final four with my U19s, and probably, and no one knows this, probably is a lucky shot. This guy just come outside, comes here. Well, and that's what we usually say, because we refer to other guys like, oh, how lucky he was. He just got there, and then fair enough, right? People can just judge by what they see. But now, if they ask me, hey, how do you do that? Can you show me your process, because how you were successful? And I bet you that there's a lot of coaches that, even though on the highest level and anything, they don't have a process. And then now for me, then it becomes lucky, because when you ask them, I want to learn from you, they don't have that process.
Yeah.
Now, if you ask me, we can sit down and look, this is what I did in week 1. This is what I did in week 2. This is what I did in this was an adversity that we had this, and this is how I fix it. And we can reflect. And then you can go in and say, you know what? Oh, now it makes sense how you guys went so far. And that's for me, that's what it matters. And even when you fail, you have to have a process, and it's easier because next year you go back, you review and reflect, which is that's why this is something that I learned from US Soccer and from my mentors there, that it's now an element of, if you see it, there's a lot of self-reflection. You go back, reflect, and then you move on. And in fact, I was like that, but I didn't have a process even when I was a player. I used to do a lot of reflection myself. How can I improve? What can I do better? What can I do this? You have other players, they go with your families or they go with your girlfriends, and they don't care. And then the next day, okay, I'm here, I'm back to play. So there was not, I was, like I said, more process oriented to reflection without not knowing. Then I learned even that area, how to execute it. And now I do it better. And now, even when I fail, you can ask me, I know where I failed. I even tell my players, when we lose games, I know what I lost. And you can beat me once. I always joke with them. It was funny. I got a funny story. It was recently last year, but it was a fact. I had data for that. I told them, hey, I only lose once. The second time, you can't beat me. Why? Because I reflect so much. I know I went through the process, that the second time it won't happen. Why? Because I'm going to be more prepared than the first one. That's what makes you a better coach, and it makes you better. And it was funny because I told this story, and it was the third time, and we lost that team the 3 times. And then I told them, and they were like, Coach, you just have failed to become a coach, because you told us that you never lost to a team 2 times. Now you just did it. Sorry, 2 times, right? Going to the third. And I told them, well, it's not going to happen the third time. Trust me. I'm going to make sure that the third time doesn't happen. But they were right. But just to make kind of what it is, if
Yeah.
it doesn't matter the level, it doesn't matter the actions in terms of, and what I said about fail is obviously because the game is about winning, right? But in development, it is about, okay, what do we do in the week? What I want my teams to improve over the week, right? I want to be better the next time that we play those teams, because the challenge is the same. So the challenge is the same. They even though we lose the game, there has to be an improvement from 1 week to another week, or from 1 week to a year. And there's 2 things more rewarding as well than for me, than is the same as a player. When I did accomplish, I was telling you the example about, you can be in a team where you win a lot of championships.
Yeah.
So there's another thing as a coach. For me, there's 2 things rewarding of coach, my rewards of a coaching. One, it is, I want to make better players. For me, it's not about myself, because championship makes me good. Uh, for me, it's about what I do with my players. It's more rewarding if on my group, a kid that doesn't have an opportunity gets an opportunity. A kid that doesn't have what he thinks that he could get, he gets a different opportunity. A kid that is super good, can I put him on the pro level? A kid that can play in a best high school out there, in a D1 school. So that for me is more rewarding than, let's say, and I'm not gonna take, for example, that going to the Final Four. I mean, yes, that's just the pinnacle of a process and a group together, which is gonna come naturally. Um, and that's for me is more rewarding. And the next thing, it is the relationships. It is when I got guys that I've been coaching during this 10 years. And guys, I used to coach guys that now they're a little bit older, guys that they were 11 years old, that they're going to college now.
Wow.
Guys that they were 23s, 22s, that they're married now.
Wow.
And for me, the most rewarding it is, like I said, guys that get in touch with me and send me that I don't know what they're doing, and they send me a letter over the mail and saying, Coach, I just want to give you a heads up. And I got recently one, like 2 weeks ago, one. I just, he was pursuing professional soccer, didn't make it. And he goes like, I do appreciate all you did for me, right? The encouragement, and I was obsessed about getting in a professional level. I understand that I'm not gonna make it, but I want to make you let you know and make you feel that thank you for all your advice. I just opened my business and it's a huge business. And I go like, wow, that's more rewarding than winning a championship. But when another guy saying, hey, coach, uh, my wife just got pregnant. I'm gonna be a dad. I'm gonna have I'm gonna get married. Can you come to our wedding? And for me, it's more rewarding than, like I said, than maybe winning. And maybe don't get me wrong, I will get happy if I win the Champions League.
Yes.
But like I said, those experiences are most important for me. Uh, um, that eventually, like I said, eventually will give me success in all the areas as long as I focus on that. For me is, and I'm not gonna make everyone happy. Not all the players are gonna be happy, and maybe some of them they hate me. But I try the most to make sure that when they leave, they get something from me. Like I said, not all of them are gonna like you. Why? Because it is like that. Some of them they're not gonna play enough and what they think that they need to. But I'm gonna be honest. And I think they can say that coach just fooled me around. No, he was honest. I mean, I didn't like him, but he was honest, and I think that's more rewarding than everything else.
That's excellent. I do want to say this. Could you let me know if you could be back in the future for a second interview? Because there's so much that we can talk about, and just listening to you, it's just been a few questions, but I just can see the need for a follow-up interview sometime in the future, if you will,
Oh, for sure. There's I mean, we can write a book.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I'm telling you, I'm still on my face. I think of my life and my career still in page 2. So there's a
Right.
lot of stories for there to count for sure,
That's
especially in
humble.
these hard times.
That's humbling. No, absolutely. Well, I don't want to take much more of your time, but I do want to finish with there is a lightning round that I typically do with my guests, and I just give you a word or perhaps a short phrase, and maybe if you could answer what the first thing that comes to your mind, that will be phenomenal. Hopefully
Yeah,
it'll be a fast one, but if not, it's okay.
I'm bad at this game, but I'm gonna make my best here.
Okay.
I
Well,
always I always try to give and then say one word and then I go like 3 words and
oh,
so
no, no, no,
I will make my best to do everything like I'm getting better I guess but
yeah, I just want to challenge you.
yeah.
Okay, so it can be one word or whatever it is. No worries. Okay, so here is the lightning round for our guest, Coach Luis Swisher. Guatemala.
um you put me hard here. I would say um I something missing, something that I missed.
CONCACAF.
um Future, I would say.
The US.
um Opportunity.
Europe.
um Dream.
La pelota. The ball.
Uh, Love. I mean, you need to love the game, so the ball will be the yeah.
Your family.
Everything. So it means everything for me.
Faith.
Say it again.
Faith.
Uh, I'm a true believer, so I would say God there.
um, your future.
A promise, I guess. There's hopefully I'm a promise there somewhere there. So who knows?
Education.
But
Education.
Um, I would say much needed.
Scott Gallagher.
Um, I would say opportunity as well. They open their doors, yeah, to give me an opportunity.
And then we are done with the lightning round. But I would like to ask you this before we end. Do you have any words of advice for aspiring youth who would like to be professional footballers, and also for aspiring coaches?
Yeah, I mean, for players, it's follow your. I mean, you will hear this, and it's like all the time, follow your dreams. But it is follow your dreams, and within those following those dreams is to, have a plan, have action plans. Like I said, being a guy that it's process oriented, have a process for that plan, and it's simple, right? The details, right? I want to become a professional player. It's how you passionate and how committed are to your training, to your getting better, to be better and bounce back and all the little details. But that's part of a big action plan of a soccer player. But it is, be passionate what you do, and you're gonna accomplish your dreams. Sooner or later you will have those opportunities, and the same as for coaches, right? Coaches, I would say it's as well as it's a process, it's a hard process as well. But I would say with the coaches is more patience, because everyone wants from day one to day two, and it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then for players as well, but for players there's different path. I mean, it's not linear to soccer players. It could be, and I can tell you tons of, and in another program I can tell you tons of stories of of colleagues and peers and players, former players, and guys that they were supposed to be top and they never make it, and they were better than me for sure, and I didn't make it. That I wasn't great when I was 12 to 17. So but my path was in a different way, so I find my way. And it's not gonna be linear, right? For someone it's gonna be linear, for other ones are not gonna it's not gonna be like that. For a head coach is the same story. But for coaches is the same. Be passionate and everything, but it's more educate yourself. I mean, and the other thing it is have a lot of take out the ego, because there's a lot of ego within the coaches, because it's me because it's I want to look good and everything else. One thing that it is that I would say is empathy. Always put yourself in the shoes of your players, put it in the shoes of other people, and I think that helps me when I started this. And recently, I told my players even yesterday, um, I hated so much from things from coaches, and they never asked me, right? Are you good with that? And I told them the same, right? I told them I don't want to be those coaches. I don't want to be. I want you to be. I put myself in your shoes, and do you like what I do in terms of with you guys? And it was like, yeah. Do you want me to be different? No. And then it's like, don't make me be different then, right? Because there's gonna be moments for sure, but I think sometimes we coaches is our way, and that's the way, and it's not like that. You learn a lot from other people, but you learn a lot from your players. Like I said, I got many experiences that I learned from my own players that I think that I was teaching, and the lesson is coming from the other side. So I think in those words, I think we need to have a lot of empathy and take out our egos. There's a coaching span is not that big, right? And I think having the same clear objectives and everything else, but we need to get, as soon as we get out from our bubble of ego, and I would say that in empathy, but also being humble and humility, taking it out, and having more humility. I think it's gonna open more doors for sure. It's not gonna be perfect, no one is, at the end, I'm telling you, I'm talking all this, and maybe in 10 years we get to, see each other and having the relationship, and you said, hey, you remember in a podcast you told me you were going to make it, you still didn't make it. I don't know. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm following my dream, I'm following him, but I'm trying to make sure that it happens. But you never know, and it probably never will happen. But I will stay in, and we'll finish with this. Is at least I try, and I think I did that as a player, and it did happen. So in this case, I'm gonna try. And my wife sometimes tells me, you're stubborn. Like, what do you? Because what you give to, sometimes what she says is, what you give to this sport sometimes doesn't reward you and gives you back. And I always answer, maybe it's not gonna be me. Maybe it's gonna be my kid who's gonna get a reward. I don't know. So I think in those ways, in different ways, maybe I get another reward, but it's gonna be in a different way. At least I'm gonna try. So
Wow, that is beautiful. Thank you so much, Coach Luis Swisher, for your time. Thank you for the interview. And I just wanted to tell everybody, this was Luis Swisher. I'm going to leave, if that's okay with Coach, his link on social media. I'm positive sure for my conversation with him. If you have any questions about coaching, about player development, if you would like to be a part of his club, I'm positive sure he would reply to you back. So I'm going to leave his Twitter, I'm going to leave his LinkedIn link, and all those links that he provides me with. So check him out, check his work out, and touch base with him if you want. Meanwhile, thank you for your time, everybody watching this from home, listening to the podcast. This has been the Alex Way. Go to PayPal if you'd like to financially support us with any sort of amount. That it all works. And also go to social media, check out the links in the description, like and share this podcast. And as usual, thank you for everything, the support. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to keep running. So have a good one, and I'll see you in the next episode. Ciao.
You've been listening to The Alex Way. We're all over the internet. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn.